Hey guys, Martina here. I wanted to walk you through in a super step-by-step detailed way everything about the Flex units from purchasing to all using all of the different resources in them. I know you guys have a lot of questions and I want to make sure that they are answered so that you feel confident using these materials this fall. The great news is that this is only going to be hard the first time that you use the materials for the first unit. Once you figure out how to work with the materials for that first unit, you'll do the same exact thing every unit. So you don't need to worry about every time that you start a new unit trying to figure it out all over again. One of the things that we intentionally did when we created these units was we made them very systematic. Everything is repeated from unit to unit so that it is very easy for you to use and for your students to use once you get the hang of it, of course. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen. And what I have done is I've actually created my own fake teachers pay teachers account. Actually, it's a real account. I created a second teachers pay teachers account so that you can see me do this, walk through this exactly as you would as a user. So start out, say you want to buy something. So well, actually, let's assume that you have already purchased something, and we'll start with the Flex bundle. So if you purchased the Flex bundle or any individual unit within the Flex bundle, if you go back to Teachers Pay Teachers, there's two ways that you can find it. You can just search SOMOS Flex in the search bar and then look for the product that you purchased. In my case, I would want to look at this. So this bundle here. And I can see it tells me I already own it. So that's great. Another way that you can find things that you already own is to go to My TPT, go down to My Purchases, and then you can see the things that you've purchased. I'm going to click on this again, just take us to this product page. So what you'll notice with the Flex bundle that is really weird and might totally freak you out is that this button is grayed out. You can't download anything. And that is because the Flex bundle is only a digital resource. So it is connected to Google Drive, and that is the only way to access it. So instead of downloading the unit to your hard drive, you have to go through and you're going to add each individual unit to your Google Drive. So you just go down here, click on the unit that you want to add. You'll go through and you'll probably do all 5 of these at some point. Click Add to Google Drive. If you are not already signed into your Google Drive, it will prompt you to do that at this point. So you'll sign into the Google Drive account that you want these resources to be stored in. But I'm already signed into Google on this browser. So if you do have any concerns, you can read through this privacy policy. I have no problem letting TPT access my Google Drive for these purposes. It feels very secure to me. I trust the company. So I'm going to click Got It. Oh, so I'm already signed in. I'm going to use this account for it. Again, like I said, it might prompt you to sign in if you're not already signed into any Google accounts. So choose the account that you want it to go into the drive, and then it's going to say adding to Google Drive, and it's going to take a minute. Some teachers have had problems where it gets stuck on this step if your internet connection is bad or if there's some firewall issues. If that happens, contact TPT support and they'll see if they can troubleshoot it for you. But after just a minute, it'll say, yay, it's in there, and then view in Google Drive. So this is where you'd be like, what just happened? This file is now in the Google Drive account that you selected. And if you're like, but I don't know where in the drive, what it does, the first time that you do this, it automatically creates a folder for you called TPT Purchases. And this is one of the main folders in your Google Drive. And then within that TPT Purchases folder, it's going to create a new folder or a new resource for every new resource that you connect. So if I go to my TPT Purchases, Again, I didn't create this folder. TPT created this folder for me when I accessed my drive. I'll see these are the 2 units that I've downloaded so far. And to get to this folder, if I just go back to my main drive, this is going to be embarrassing. This is my personal one. It's a mess. If I just scroll down to, oh gosh, oh, right here. It's the second one, TPT purchases. So it's a main folder in your main My Drive, whichever drive you connected it to, sorry. And then you open up the resource here. So this is the first way that you can access the files. I'm going to walk through what to do with these. Now these, when it does this, it gives you your own copy of all these files. Everything is editable for you already because this is your own copy. The only tricky thing here is that if at any point I update a file, if I update one of the resources, this file, because this is your own unique separate copy of the file, it is not attached to my original file anymore. So if I make an update, you're going to actually have to go back into Teachers Pay Teachers and re-download the file. So what that looks like, if I were to do it again, if I ever got a notification like, hey, Martina Bex has updated this resource, my computer's going to die, of course. If it says Martina Bex has updated, or the Comprehensible Classroom has updated this resource, if you go back to Add to Google Drive, you're going to have to download it again to get the update. I'm going to click on the same, I want to use the same account. We'll wait for it to make a copy, see how long it takes. Depends on how many people are at my house trying to be on calls right now. I think my husband is. Still waiting, still waiting. Ah, there we go, view in Google Drive. So let's see what happens. So now, oh my Lanta, I've got a new folder. So if I go again, that went into my TPT purchases folder. And now you'll see, maybe you'll see, that in my TPT purchases folder, what do we have going on? We may never know, because my internet will not load. So now when this finally loaded, you will see that, shoot, I've got 2 unit 4s. How do I know which one I want? So you've got to look at last modified. And here, obviously this is tricky because I only did those 3 minutes apart, but usually it'll be like significant difference. So this one was last modified at 11:46. That was the first one I added. So now I can just go in and delete that whole folder if I want, or what I would do right now, before I change anything, I'm going to just change the name to newest so that I don't get those 2 confused. So whenever you update a file, I would recommend changing the name of the newest one as soon as you identify that it's the newest. And then when you get an update from me, you'll see a flag on your Teachers Pay Teachers on the product. You'll get a notification via email, or you'll see it in your downloads folder. It'll say specifically what was updated. And it might say something like, slide 22 of the unit slideshow had an inappropriate picture. P.S. If you haven't already, check your SOMOS Flex Level 1 Unit 1 slideshow and make sure that you have the most recent version of that, because there were 2 photos that had like inappropriate elements kind of in the background or the foreground of the picture, not the focal point. So re-download that SOMOS 1 Unit 1 slideshow and make sure that it's appropriate. It was almost a month ago now that happened. So if you got it in July, maybe go and check it. But then you can just go into your newest version. If you're like, oh man, I already messed with You know, I already did some adapting to the files that I already have. I don't really want to delete all of that and replace all of those files. You can just go in based on my instructions that I gave with the notification, when you got the update notification. You can just go in and grab the specific pages that have been updated. So if I say unit, the dictionary page, let's see, what could be something I updated. If I say, oh, the dictionary page had an error on it, you can go into the new file, click on whatever was, whatever had been updated, click file, or no, sorry, edit, copy. And then you can go into your old version that you already had. Open up the same file. So now I've got my old plans and my new plans. You can, when it loads, sorry for all the waiting for the loading, find the same page that had the error on it. In this case, it's just kind of imaginary, so it's a little bit more confusing, I guess. So if I say, oh, the dictionary page had an error on it, I will delete that old dictionary page. I just clicked on it in the viewfinder here, and then I just clicked delete on my keyboard, and it will delete, I think. Yep, when it loads. Maybe it won't. Go to edit, delete, it was still loading. And then I can do edit, paste, because I had copied that other thing. Oh, geez, now what am I doing? I'm in my incognito mode, so edit, paste, and yes, you can use keyboard shortcuts if you have them enabled. Oh my gosh, is it not going to let me do it because I don't have them enabled? There we go. And then always click keep original slides if this pops up. So now I've got the new version of this dictionary page in my slideshow presentation. And once I have updated all my old files, then I'm going to just X out of these. Then you can go back to your TPT purchases, and I will actually just delete the newest folder. So delete that. And so now I have my old folder, but I pulled the file from the new one that needed to be updated. So it might be that I added a file or two, and so then you can just, if that was the case, if you ever see an update and it's like, new, this was just added, you can click on the file, and then using your keyboard shortcuts, do Control click, or I guess on a PC it would be right click. But Control click and then click move to, and then you can navigate through and move it to your old folder to add it that way. So it might be that you want to just keep all of the new files, especially if you haven't made any changes to the files that you already had in your drive. That might be what you want to do. But if you have already made changes, because again, once you have these files in your drive, they are yours. If you've already made some changes to them and you're like, I don't want to undo all of that work that I did by replacing the old file with a new one, you can go in and pull the specific elements that you need from the new files to the old ones. Now, we aren't a technology company. We don't do Google training. And so I totally understand that for some of you guys, this whole Google Files thing is new. And doing something that feels very routine to me. You know, I do things like that all the time on computer. It might feel like really confusing and like a lot to you because you haven't had to do it before. Unfortunately, we are not the people that can help you with that. So if you're struggling on just how to use Google and how to make a copy of a slide and put it in another slideshow. Talk to someone at your district. The IT department should be there to help you. There's also so many technology support groups online. You don't have to look for one specifically for world language teachers. You can contact Google support. They can walk you through it. So there's tons of people out there that are specifically there to help you with those kinds of things. So we can help you with the materials themselves, but when it comes to how to use Google and how to accomplish different tasks in Google, we are not the best place to go to for help on that. And I apologize because I know that can be really frustrating when you purchased a Google product from us. But we want to make sure that we are using our time wisely and using our talents wisely as well. We are not uniquely gifted in Google. So I'll go back and look at the files later, but this is one way. So that's one way that you can get files into your drive. Now, that is what you're going to do for most of the resources. The only thing that is different is if you guys go to, if you've purchased the digital semester 1 bundle. So again, you can find a purchase by searching for it by name in Teachers Pay Teachers. And when you go to the product listing, it'll tell you that you already own it. The other way, of course, is to go to My TPT and go down to My Purchases. The nice thing about this is that it will tell you when you go to it in My Purchases. Sorry. Oh, I just clicked something I didn't mean to click. When you go to it in My Purchases, you can see it'll tell you when you purchased it, and it'll also tell you when it was last updated. So you'll be able to see if I haven't made any updates to it since you purchased it. And then when you click on that, it'll actually tell you specifically what those updates are. Now, one glitch in TPT, because these Google resource connections are pretty new, usually when it tells you an update, it'll say download now. But if it's a digital resource and you click download now, it won't do anything because it's not a download. So you'll actually have to just go back to the product listing to get it. So you can click here on the title of the resource that you want to get. Now here you'll see that there's two options. So I can click on each individual resource and add it to my Google Drive, just like I did with the other ones. It will create a new folder and drive for each one of those. But this resource, you'll see I actually can download it. And this is because this is such a big bundle, a lot of teachers reached out to us and said that they just were not comfortable with Teachers Pay Teachers accessing their Google Drive. And so we created an alternative for this bundle only. We did not do this for our smaller units and bundles. So when you download it, it's going to download a zip folder, which is kind of funny because it's really just a PDF. I don't know why it's zipped. But you'll open the PDF that you downloaded and you'll see it says click here to access. So you'll click on this access link. And it will take you to a folder. Now, this is not your folder. So this is really important. If you access the resources in this way, this is not your folder. You will not be able to edit these files. So it pulled open this folder. You probably couldn't see that for a minute. So you'll see these folders go into a folder. If you want to use these files, you are going to have to make a copy of each one of them. Now, Google unfortunately doesn't let you copy a whole folder. So you have to go into the folder and make a copy. So if, for example, I want, let's say that I want level 2, unit 2. I'm just going into the folders that are in this download, not a download, that were linked in the PDF. It says, see, it says owner, comprehensible classroom, and me, you, are not the comprehensible classroom. So you cannot edit these files. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to highlight all of them. So click the first one and then scroll down, hold down your shift button, So hold down the shift button on your computer after you've clicked that first one, and then click on the bottom. So that will highlight all of them. So click on the top one, click the shift button, click on the bottom one. It'll highlight all of the files. And then you're going to do right click or control click, depending on if you have a Mac or a PC. So right click or control click, and then do make a copy. Now, when you click make a copy, so when you're done here, it'll say copied 30 files into my drive. Oh my word, that's crazy. So what you'll need to do then is go back to your drive. And then you're going to, if you go to recent, that's probably the easiest thing for you to do. And you will see all of those files right here, copy of, copy of, copy of, copy of. And yes, that is totally annoying, but you're going to do the same thing. You're going to click on the last one, and you're going to go down and you're going to click all the way to the other end, hold down the shift button, click the last one. That will highlight all of them. And then you can do right click, or control click, depending on your operating system. Click move to. I clicked move to, and then you just need to wait for a window to pop up. And then I'm going to actually put these in my TPT products folder that I have. If you don't have a folder, you can create one for it. So if I find, go to TPT purchases, that's where I want these to go. You can put them anywhere. I'm going to create a new folder. So again, in this little window, new folder. I'm going to call it SOMOS 2.2 Flex. I'm creating a new folder. Again, if you need help learning how to do this is a Google task. Connect with your IT person, connect with Google support. They will walk you through it. We are not the people to walk you through this step by step, but tell them that you need to know how to make copies of files and then move them to a new folder that you create, and they'll be able to walk you through that. And then you just click move here. So now they are all nicely organized. If you go to my drive and you go to whatever folder it was that you just created for it, you'll see here's that folder I just created, and here are all of my files. Yay! Now, if you are, if it drives you nuts that they say copy of, you can go in and right click and do rename, and you can delete that copy of. But if you don't want to waste the time, it's totally fine. You can just work with the files like this. They just say copy of in front of them, not a big deal. Now, if there's ever an update to the files, the way that you will access that update is you will go back to that PDF that you downloaded, and you will click on the access link that was in the folder. So that is the end of this first video, which is just how to download resources from Teachers Pay Teachers. So there's two different ways to do it depending on the resource you purchased. Most of our Flex resources, actually all of our Flex resources are available to be added directly to your Google Drive. You do that by just clicking on the button in Teachers Pay Teachers. It will prompt you to log in or to choose a Google account, and then it will automatically create your own unique individual copy of those files in a folder called TPT Purchases that is added to your drive. So look for TPT Purchases in the Google Drive account that you chose. If you did purchase the Digital Semester 1 Spanish bundle, then there is an alternative way to download them. However, it is a lot more work because you will need to make copies of the individual files, because as it is when you open the link from that PDF, it is not, they will not be editable to you. They are owned by me and not editable by people that have access to them. So I hope that is really helpful. And in the next video, I'm going to walk you through what are the files that come in the folder and what do you do with them.